So we have this contingent of people online, and it's growing and growing and growing. The Israel critics and the Jew critics. There are an increasing number of people or accounts online that are criticizing Israel and that are criticizing Jewish people. And Jewish people who hold positions of power and authority in our societies and in our governments, perhaps. So there's this growing contingent online of people who are Israel critical and Jew critical. And it's really interesting, folks, to watch this play out. Because here's what's happening. If a bird flies above you and the bird shits on you, what people are now saying is, it's Israel. Netanyahu sent an invisible drone to hover above me and unload a bird shit capsule to unload all this shit over me. It wasn't a bird that shit on me, it was Israel. It was Netanyahu, and it was the Jewish oligarchy of America and the Jewish elites that run the world. That's the reason why a bird shit on me today. It was the Jews. It was Israel. It was Netanyahu. This is what's starting to happen online. You have got a whole bunch, they're not all retards, but you've got a bunch of absolute idiots online. And I call them idiots because these people are taking zero responsibility for their own life. They are just looking for any reason to blame someone else for their miserable, unproductive, uneventful, shitty life. And it is convenient for them to blame Israel, to blame the Jews for why their life is shit. And for why a bird has just shit on them. It must be Netanyahu. It must be Israel. It has to be the Jews. That's the reason why the bird shit on me. It wasn't a bird. It was an invisible drone that was sent specifically to unload bird shit on me. This is how ludicrous it is getting, folks. And I'll tell you why I believe this growing contingent of people is getting bigger and bigger online. It's because of what we are talking about here. The online social media echo chamber. People will do anything to offload responsibility for their own life, being miserable. People will look for any reason at all, to blame someone else for why their life is shit. And then, of course, the logical conclusion that this Israel critical, Jew critical contingent comes to is that when anything happens in the world, anything, it doesn't matter if it's something as silly as a bird shitting on you. It doesn't matter. No matter what happens in the world, the only explanation that will satisfy this growing contingent is Israel, Netanyahu, or the Jews. Everything is Israel, Netanyahu, and the Jews. And when people adopt this mentality, what they basically do is they offload responsibility for their own life. They want to blame someone else for why they have a miserable existence. Let me tell you something, folks. I'm not a multi-millionaire or billionaire. I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars or pounds or billions. I'm more of a regular common citizen. Let me tell you something. My life is great. I lost my dad 2 weeks ago. My dad died at 63 years of age from cancer. A lot of life left on the table. Me, I've lost my dad 2 weeks ago, and I'm telling you that my life is great. I love my life. Sure, I'm sad that my dad died, but I love my life. I really enjoy my life. There are lots of goals and ambitions that I have and that I'm currently pursuing. I'm very productive every day. I keep in good physical shape. I get my exercise done. I tick off my fundamentals. I get good sleep. I get outside and get daylight and sunshine. I eat well. I do my exercise, as I've said. I do a bit of fasting. I keep myself in good shape. I make sure that I have goals that I'm working towards. I interact with the people that I care about. I live a marvelous existence that I'm very satisfied with. And you see all those things that I've just said? The Jews and Israel and Netanyahu have no ability to influence these things. I am able to live the wonderful existence that I live because I don't offload responsibility for my life to anybody else. I don't seek to blame other people. I take full responsibility for my existence. Yes, is the game difficult to play? Is the game of life difficult? Yes. Is it difficult economically at the moment? Yes, it can be difficult for some people. But folks, we talked about this with my Christmas special, my 3-part Christmas special, My Beef with Christmas. Folks, we have to be honest. A lot of people are absolute idiots. They get themselves into debt. They go around on autopilot. They offload their thinking. They don't run experiments fairly. They give money away willy-nilly to other people. They don't take care of their finances. They don't educate themselves. We live in the internet age. We have access to easy knowledge. People don't bother their whole to educate themselves. How to actually make their money safer, how to make money in more efficient ways. People have access to information. People don't use the information. People don't educate themselves because they are lazy and they are looking to blame someone else for their shitty existence. They don't take responsibility for their life. And instead, what do? They get on to Twitter. They get on to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And what do? They blame the Jews. They blame Israel. They blame somebody else other than themselves. I'm not saying that the economic climate is super easy to live in. But you need to have a cold, hard look at yourself. Are you really doing everything to maximize and optimize your own existence? Are you honestly, be honest, are you really doing your best? Or are you floating around on autopilot? Not even paying attention to the incredible amount of knowledge that you have at your disposal on the internet and in books and in libraries and with people that you are now able to get in touch with thanks to technology. The ability to travel to any place on the planet if you want to seek more information. Are you putting yourself in debt? Are you trying to buy things that you can't afford? Are you having kids that you can't afford? Are you buying fancy cars and fancy houses that you can't afford? Are you trying to grandstand to other people in your community and sacrificing your own life so that you can try to give the impression on Instagram that you're living this really cool life when you're really not? Are you really doing everything you can to optimize your existence? Probably not. And these people online, to relate it back to what I'm saying, this growing contingent online, this Israel critical, this Jew critical contingent, of course Israel should be subject to a thoughtful, critical analysis. Of course it should. Of course Netanyahu and any politician or any government should be subject to a thoughtful, critical analysis of their actions. Nobody's saying that shouldn't happen. In the same way, should the Jewish elite be subject to a critical, thoughtful analysis of their actions and behavior? Yes. Of course they should. Nobody's disagreeing with that at all. Nobody has a problem with any person coming online and being involved in a thoughtful analysis of any of these things, trying to diffuse useful information out into the world. That's a good thing. Nobody is disagreeing with that. But to then go a step further and say, the reason why my life is shit is because of the Jews. The reason why my life is shit is because of Netanyahu and Israel. If that is the next step you take, then you deserve the shit life, the miserable life that you have. Because what you are doing is you are offloading responsibility for your existence and trying to blame someone else for why your life is shit. My life is great, and I talk to a whole bunch of people who also would echo something very similar to what I'm saying. They really enjoy their life too. So why is it that some people who aren't multimillionaires are living a great life and you aren't? Did you ever ask yourself that question? Why are there other people who don't have hundreds of millions in the bank or billions? Why are there other people who are living perfectly satisfactory lives, who aren't complaining, who are actually very engaged with their existence and have a lot of purpose and a lot of meaning? Why do you not have these things? We all live in the same world. Are you subject to different laws of physics? Are you? Is there something that's restricting your locomotive abilities? Are you unable to function like another human because physics operates differently for you? Bullshit. You're lazy. That's what you are. You're lazy and you want to offload responsibility to other people. Blame other people. Blame the Jews. Blame Israel. And to relate this back to Andrew Tate on the PBD podcast, there were so many people. He sold out to the Jews. It's the Jews. The Jews have got to him. He's taken the check. He's compromised. PBD, he's a Jew. He's a Mossad agent. Adam Sosnick, he's a Jew. He's got the dagger out and he's stabbing Andrew Tate in the back. This growing contingent online, there are a whole bunch of idiots in it. Now, there are some very legitimate people in this category of Israel critical and Jew critical people. Of course there are legitimate people in there. Absolutely. Who are engaging in thoughtful critical analyses of Israel and of the Jews. That's fine. Of course, I'm not saying everybody's an idiot in this contingent, but my gosh, there are far more retards and idiots than what I thought. It's like anything that happens in the world now. These idiots just blame the Jews. Andrew Tate goes on to the PBD podcast. It's the Jews! The Jews have got to him. It's remarkable to watch. It's remarkable to watch people get completely enveloped. People get completely hemmed in to this social media echo chamber. Because that's exactly what this is. These Israel critical people, these Jew critical people, they live in an echo chamber whereby their own bias towards Jew criticism and Israel criticism is confirmed by the very algorithm on the very social media platform that they are using. And so what happens? They become even more hardcore, even more extreme in their belief that everything that happens in the world, including a bird shitting on you, is to do with Israel and the Jews. That is where it has got to with some of these people, or a large swath of these people on the internet. It's remarkable to watch. It's remarkable to watch people offload their thinking, get totally trapped by the social media echo chamber, not come to their own conclusions, not think logically, not go to the source, not to run a fair experiment, not to cross-reference your thinking with other, more credible, accurate sources of information. It is remarkable to watch. And then you see more people get totally trapped by the echo chamber. And then what ends up happening? What ends up happening then? Let's take this Israel critical and Jew critical contingent that are saying Andrew Tate has sold out to the Jews. He has a Jewish handler. Those people, that contingent that blames everything on the Jews, including their own miserable existence. The Jews have wrecked the economy. That's why my life's miserable. Oh well, I may as well just kick back and type on X like a retard. I may as well just do that. Sure, that's really productive. That's going to help me, isn't it? That's going to put me in optimal circumstances. Writing on X, or writing on TikTok, or YouTube, a comment. That's really going to optimize my life, isn't it? But you see, the reason why my life is shit is because of the Jews. And the Jews have figured out how to manipulate physics. And what they've done is, they've put this little environment around me, this unique environment where physics operates differently and it makes my life miserable. These people will blame everything, including their own miserable existence, on the Jews. That is what is happening with this social media echo chamber. It gives people a reason to blame other people. It allows people to confirm their own worldview. It is the most anti-scientific thing ever. What have we talked about here on the show, folks? The essence of being a great scientist is what? Not trying to confirm or prove your theory, but to disprove your theory. That is the essence of a great scientist. And that is the essence of great science. Not trying to confirm what you think is true. Not trying to prove what you think is true. It's actually trying to disprove what is true, or what you think is true. That is how you are more likely to arrive at the truth. That is how you make your worldview more solid and more distortion-free. What does the social media echo chamber do? The complete opposite. It feeds you things that confirm your bias, that confirm your worldview. And so you never become an organism in motion. You are stagnant. You're a stagnant organism. You are never in motion. And when you're not in motion, and when you are not broadly aware of what is happening, when you are in a bubble, in an echo chamber, and you don't know what's happening outside of that, you know what happens? I'm going to repeat it again. You are easier to control, manipulate, and exploit when you are in that state. When you persist and exist in the social media echo chamber, that is what you are subjecting yourself to. The end game of living, the end result of living in the social media echo chamber is exploitation. And do you know who is at the butt of the exploitation? You. You are at the butt of the exploitation. And if you remain in this echo chamber, blaming the Jews, blaming Israel, blaming the government, blaming the politicians, blaming all of these people, offloading responsibility for your life, if that is how you want to live your existence, good on you. You are going to get exploited. And you deserve it. What's the way to not increase your probability of being exploited, folks? Come to your own conclusions, first and foremost. Come to your own conclusions. Don't outsource your thinking to anybody. It doesn't matter how great you think they are. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend. Do not, first and foremost, outsource your thinking. Come to your own conclusions first. You should always run experiments. And when you run experiments, you should run them fairly. Meaning, you should get both sides of the argument. Meaning, you should always go to the source. When you hear about something, go to the source. Get both sides of the argument. Make sure you're not being walked into an echo chamber. Get both sides of the argument. Then once you have come to your own conclusions, that's great. That's really important. But to make sure that we haven't overlooked something, then what you want to do is cross-reference what you have come to, the conclusions that you've come to. Cross-reference your thinking. Don't offload or outsource your thinking. Cross-reference your thinking with other reliable sources of information that you have ran a background check on, that you have a past history on, and who present as credible sources of information. You cross-reference your thinking with them, and that, folks, is the best way to avoid the end game, which is exploitation.